All right, guys. Want to just quickly go over this measurement booklet that you're going to be doing your first week in the freshman graphics course. And what you see in front of you here is basically, so I think it's the first or second page inside the cover, and it lists all the different measurements when it comes to a ruler. And the ones that are in yellow are the ones that we typically use the most in our shop. Not to say that the others aren't ever used, but for the majority of the time in the printing industry, you will be looking at each one of these here. So, like this first one right here is 1/16. That's the fraction right there. And then the decimal equivalent to that is 0.0625. And you can see then 1/8 is 0.125, 3/16, 0.1875, and then a quarter inch, 0.25, and so on and so forth. And again, as you scroll through these, you can see the yellow ones are the most important ones. The other, when we do a quiz on this with you guys down the road, the three most important ones that you're going to want to pay attention to would be this first one right here at 1/16, the 1/8, and the 1/4. Because any one of those three, if you can memorize those three, then you'll remember how to solve any equation down the road. So for instance, if you had 1/4 of an inch, and you need to figure out what 3/4 of an inch was, you would just take 0.25, multiply it times 3, and it would give you 0.75. Same thing for the eighth. If I had an eighth and I was going to try to figure out what 5/8 would be right here, I would just take 1/8, that 0.125, multiply it by 5, and you would get this 0.625. And then the same would go for the 16th, 0.625, multiply that times 9, that would give you 0.5625. So those three numbers right there are the most important for you to remember moving forward. Because I believe you'll have a quiz on some of this before the end of the school year, and it's going to be important for you to remember those three most important numbers. The points and picas down here, these are measurements in the graphic arts industry. They're honestly not really used all that much anymore, but it's just some general information that you probably should pay attention to. You won't have a test on it. When you get into the book part right here, when you're measuring, every line that's in between, say, a 2 and a 3, or in between your inch markers, so between 1 and 2, or 2 and 3, or 3 and 4, there's going to be 16 lines in between. So that's 1/16. 16/16 make up an inch. So what you're going to do here is you're going to measure from the point here at the beginning to the end of the eraser on the pencil here in the straightest line possible. And let's just say that that number was 2 3/4. So in the first box right here, you would put 2 and then 3/4. So that means 2 3/4. Then right here, you would do the decimal equivalent of that number. So here you would put 2.75. So that's how you are filling out this booklet, okay? And what I'll tell you is just go to the closest line. You're not going to get docked on points on this if you, say, pick 2 5/16 and it's 2 1/4. I don't care about that. What I care about is that you write the fraction correctly and then you write the decimal equivalent correctly. And again, if we scroll back to this first page right here, you can reference this page and look for the fraction that you're closest to. And again, I would go closest 16th. Don't worry about 30 or 64ths or anything like that. Go to the closest 16th of an inch. All right? So again, you'll just kind of go through this whole activity book, filling all this stuff out. It's got the what's the height, same thing on some of these. Some might be the width. The line lengths here. This back page, what you're doing here is you're getting the height, which is this, from top to bottom, and then you're going to get the width from left to right. Okay? So you would put that, again, on the top. So let's just say this was 1.5 by 1.5. You would put 1 and then 1/2, which is 1.5, an X for by, and then you would do 1.5 again. And then the decimal equivalent down here would be 1.5 by 1.5. The X means by, okay? So you're going to complete this booklet, and you're going to hand this in to Miss Ada so she can go through them and save them for me, and I'll grade them when I return, hopefully the week after next. All right, so that's it on this project. I'll talk to you soon.